Cabrakan is a versatile solo support and jungle god who has some really interesting changes from his Smite 1 variant. He does magical damage and has some mixed scaling, but is also conditional. It's complex, so let me, a Grandmaster Smite 1 player, break it down for you. Before we start though, remember this is a beta, so things are subject to change. If any major change happens to Cabrakan, I'll remake this guide for you. Cabrakan's passive Shadow Zone is a visual aura around him that makes you and your allies take reduced damage, specifically 4% damage mitigation. If an enemy damages you or an ally within this zone, you both deal increased damage to them. This damage increase is 3% and lasts for 4 seconds. To my knowledge, this effect doesn't refresh or stack. However, you can fact check me on the refreshing part. Cabrakan's first ability, Seismic Crush, makes his shields light up, which gives him movement speed that scales with ability level and 70% attack speed flat. While this ability is active, you have haste, which removes the basic attack movement penalty. You're also immune to roots and slows. Upon activation, you cleanse any slows on you, but not roots. The buff this ability gives lasts for 5 seconds, or until you hit an enemy. This ability scales 40% with intelligence and 60% with strength. It also does not suffer from diminishing returns. I went over this in my Mulan video, but diminishing returns, or DR, is when you are hit by a CC after getting CC'd. The second CC is a little less effective than the one before it. This is so you're not permanently CC locked and can actually play the game. There's more official numbers, but that's a simple explanation. Basically, Cabrakan's first ability will always stun for 0.8 seconds no matter how many times a person has been CC'd before it. One more thing you could do is if you have Blink, you could pre-fire this ability, then Blink. It will look something like this. Activate the one, Blink while you're basic attacking so that they are stunned the second you blink on them. Cabrakan's second ability, Refraction Shield, is a small cone which does damage and scales with intelligence. Each enemy hit restores mana to Cabrakan, which is core to his lane sustain. You'll see why later. Taking damage charges your shield, which gives you protections, capping out at 5 stacks. At max stacks, you gain the enhanced version, which is a separate ability than your normal one. This version stuns, scales with strength instead of intelligence, and heals you instead of restoring mana. The amount restored on both versions and the stun scales with the ability level. The basic version of Refraction Shield also does not stun. Cabrakan's third ability, Tremors, is a circle around him where he slams the ground repeatedly. Every second you channel this ability, you drain mana depending on the ability level. Enemies within the circle are trembled. Tremble is a soft CC that causes the affected character to move erratically towards the source of what is trembling them. This ability scales with intelligence. However, you can refire this ability slamming the ground harder, which deals damage and cripples enemies. This refire scales with strength, but also makes the ability have an increased cooldown. Something interesting you can no longer do is if you hold your mouse down like you're basic attacking, you could turn your character model before in Smite 1. Why does this matter? Well, Medusa Ultimate needs you to look at her for it to stun you, meaning you could turn away from her and not get stunned. However, you can't do that anymore. I really hope they fix this and add it back in because small bits of counterplay like this in God v God matchups are really cool, and I really hope they put this back. Cabrakan's ultimate, Tectonic Shift, puts a wall down in an area in front of you, dealing damage in a small area. Each of these wall pieces have 3 health points that can be destroyed with basic attacks. However, you, as the Cabrakan, will instantly destroy them. You can also push the button again in order to bring the walls down early. They stay active for 15 seconds or until destroyed. This ability's damage scales with 60% intelligence and 80% strength. You can also blink while casting this ability. Because of the charge-up time, it would look something like this. Cabrakan is the kind of get-in-there kind of god. He's a tank in most cases, but I'm sure there's a damage build in there somewhere. However, at the time of this video's creation, both Polynomicon and Hydra's Lament do not proc on his first ability. However, this may be changed in the future. He benefits from both strength and intelligence, so building into either or both is not bad. However, I think a defense build with Gladiator Shield is likely best. As usual, Smite2.live is a source where you can get builds from the best players and take what you like from there. I hope this helps. If it did, please feel free to like and sub, and until next time, peace.